Hello and welcome, Whole of England here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a user replay from the user TheWhiskyPriest. Now he's currently playing in his tier 10 British destroyer, the Daring, where we are going to see a very good game. It does start off rather slow, I will admit, and at the moment he is currently being targeted by the Shikaku. Unfortunately he does get the he does draw the short straw here, as the carrier does come and have a look on this side of the map with his rocket planes, and he gets a nice 3,000 hit on him. Obviously not nice for Whisky, and also has quite a few planes. He is also with a Tirpitz, but obviously Tirpitz isn't really known for having the best AA. I mean, obviously it's got okay AA, but nothing that will really go, okay, yeah, I'm not going to really go towards this. The Shikaku comes in for a second run, and in total he has now lost just under 6,000 health points. So at that point, that guy has now run away and he can just continue going forward, but he is going to have to use, there you go, one of his health regens, so to gain a bit more HP because there are 4 other enemy destroyers on the enemy team. Now what he does, it's just going to be a fact of going around really spotting, seeing what he can do, and generally just what you're going to be doing in just the start of any game, and you can see some of the other ships on the enemy team. So we'll currently talk about what he's currently running. So he is using the Andrew Cunningham, the British captain, which has got all the special points. So obviously you've got the equipment spoils talents, the lightning fast and ruthless, as well as all the other additional bonuses you get for having a special captain. As for his build, he has got a 20, well at the time he had a 20-point captain, but he's now got a 21-point captain, as you can obviously see on screen at the moment. And his build is pretty standard, just a nice concealment build, which is mainly aimed towards being a gunboat, as that is what Daring really is. It does have torpedoes, but most of the time you are going to be using it as a gunboat, because you've got those very short duration and short reload smoke screens, which they come in very handy, as you will see in this game. Now he's not actually got any damage because he's not really shot at anything, however that will certainly change shortly. Now there is the Z-46, the German destroyer over there, and he's probably thinking, okay, should I open fire? He does. Oh, okay, yeah, those are some of his torpedoes. He does go into a smoke, and it just means he can really carry on going, as his spotting is 4 kilometers? It's 6 kilometers, which is around the same as the Z-46's. Starts opening fire on this gearing as he gets into his smoke. There he goes, now in cover, but it looks like those are just about to miss. Now, obviously, one thing with German destroyers, they have got hydroacoustic search, so if those torpedoes were about to go and hit that destroyer, he's probably seen them a mile off before they even came. So yeah, none of those have really hit. But at the end of the day, there's nothing really that he can shoot at apart from that guy with his torpedo. So he might as well go. And you can see there he must have had his hydro going, because he was just doing some torpedo beats, but unfortunately went unspotted. Now this would be a good time to start farming that Heisen, but unfortunately you can currently see his smoke is about to dissipate. Yet 1 second. And now he's no longer got any cover, but that's the one thing that's very good with the British smokes, is they come off cooldown very fast, as he'd only, well, you can currently see at the moment, he'd only have to really run around for another, 20 odd seconds here, meaning, yeah, he's going to be pretty much fine, and as long as no one really shoots him, and there's no one in a real position to go for him, because a lot of the battleships are really quite far at the back of the map there, and the only thing that's even moderately close is the Heisen, which is currently sitting behind an island, and you can see Whisky is now gearing himself up to get into a position to start opening fire as soon as this guy comes in and drop a smoke when that happens. And there's also, there you go, there's the Azuma and Minnesota, which are currently spotted, but they are still quite far out and aren't going to be coming into this game until a later point. Now here's the Heisen, who has just opened up, and Whisky's just deciding whether to drop a smoke or not, because he has got 6 at the moment, and obviously if you do also get 2 kills, he's going to then activate his equipment spoils sort of special talent, and that's going to give him extra consumables, but I'm guessing he's just waiting until he goes around the corner. Yeah, so at the moment he's the one spotting it, so if he did go into a smoke, then it wouldn't have really made much difference, sort of thing. Now obviously he's got a carrier coming in, so it definitely makes sense to get into a smoke, but beforehand it wouldn't have made sense, because as soon as he smokes up, then that Heisen would have gone unspotted, and it would have effectively been a waste of a smoke. But whilst he's doing that, and he's had to smoke up because of that carrier, some of the other ships have now come into his firing range, which means he can now start making the use of his guns and do a bit more than 700 damage that he was sitting on for that amount of time. And he's leading them incredibly well and forcing that Azuma out at the moment because of, you know, he's starting to angle out a little bit, because at the end of the day you're not going to be wanting to take this many hits. I mean, there we go. Yeah, he has taken a horrible amount of hits there. Currently on fire as well from one of the fires he's set, and it's just him now opening fire and getting as many hits as possible to confirm that kill. Unfortunately, that does get taken by the Pommern, and the torpedo is now in the water going towards the Heisen. Whether those actually hit or not, we will have to see. However, the Heisen, it's an interesting ship. I mean, that was the last dockyard ship, and I mean, I'd say it's quite fun. I mean, I did do a quick review of that, or at least a first impressions of that to see how it goes, and it seems like a pretty interesting ship. However, what the Whiskey's really bothered about here is if he hits torpedoes, and unfortunately misses them on the Heisen. But there we go, his smoke has just come off cooldown again, and because he's got the Tirpitz, which is currently spotting him, it means he can now probably start firing over this island, and then when he does need to, he can just get into a smoke and then start open water, getting in the smoke and start gunboating in. For the moment, there's nothing really meaning that he's going to need to go into that smoke, as he's using the island to get protection from being spotted instead, and now you can see he's starting to get some damage up. Yeah, there we go, so he has started to come in a range where he would be able to see him because the island's no longer able to cover him. However, he is now just in his smoke for another 40 seconds and can start launching high explosive and just getting that overall HE damage. Yeah, you can see he's just going for that superstructure. There's not really much the Heisen can do at the moment. I mean, he could try and fire as to where the shots are coming from, but even so, 21,000 HP, there's no way he's going to be able to take that out in a single salvo. And yet he's now, well, you can currently see the amount of ribbons in the top right at the moment. He's already at 60 hits, and that's what I was talking about getting a blind shot. Does actually manage to get a hit there, so fair enough to him for attempting that, but his fate is definitely sealed here with everyone firing at him. 600 HP, 200, and there we go, manages to just about secure his first kill with 40,000 damage. And the next thing to come in is the Monarch, which is now coming around just outside of his firing range, but he is going to start coming in. And if you can get another kill here, you can obviously, you know, you can get in smoke if someone else is spotting him, and you can just get another one. That would be effectively a free smoke. Now, with where all the other ships are going at the moment, it is pretty much a fair fight, really. I mean, in terms of actual ships here, Whiskey's team is at a real disadvantage here because they have lost a lot more ships. Most of those being destroyers, and the Whiskey's the only destroyer on their team, whereas they've got two on their enemy on the enemy team, the Friesland and the Daring, two very powerful gunships, which you don't really want to be messing with. As well as that, they have lost 3 battleships, whereas the enemy team, they've only lost 2 destroyers, a single cruiser, and a single battleship. Now, the Monarch is coming into nice close range here, meaning he's going to have very, very, very easy shots here, because the Monarch isn't really known for being the most manoeuvrable ship ever. So he can just start on unloading all of his shots for all of this time whilst the Tirpitz is spotting him, and we'll also be getting supporting fire from the Seattle as well, meaning they can just absolutely melt him down, which you can see he's already gone down from like the 40 odd K he had to already. Yeah, there we go, sub 20k, which is absolutely perfect, and really just setting fires. He has started going for armor piercing here because the high explosive must have just been saturating in the superstructure. Yeah, you can just see that 2,000, 1,000. Yeah, he's definitely securing that kill, and that right there is just, yeah, there we go, it's basically just paid for that smoke that he's just used, and now he can just do the exact same to the Iowa. Now at this point he's not going to be able to actually go into his smoke for a bit because it's going to have to come off cooldown, which has got another 30 seconds left, so instead he uses this time to, I'm assuming, try and, I guess, outmaneuver, or at least just getting to a different position where he can still fire on this guy, and whilst that's going on, he is dropping torpedoes just to, you know, obviously, if you have got torpedoes that could hit something, then it's always good to try and do that, because at the end of the day, it's going to cause floodings, but Daring isn't really a ship to go for primarily focus on torpedoes, as it is really just a gunboat, and just in the nick of time there, he gets saved by his smoke coming off cooldown, and he's currently using armor piercing, which is fair enough, as he does have Iowa. Yeah, there we go, he's about to take a lot of torpedoes there, gets a double flood, so his lightning fast achievement has just been activated, which gives him a 5% increase in speed, and now the Iowa has popped his repair party, but the DPM of the Daring is just about countering that, and plus he has got the Seattle, which is also really helping with this, meaning once his repair party comes off from being activated, he's going to have really nothing left after that massive torpedo strike he just took. Yep, you can see that's the Seattle also going in there. So 2,000 HP, 1,000. He's really clinging on to life and manages to score his third kill, gets a fire, and he's now on 130,000 damage, which is a very, very nice score. Considering, well, I mean, we are getting late into the game. I mean, in terms of time, this game has actually started ending very, very quickly, considering, I mean, some of them do go to the very end of the battle timer. However, this one, we've still got another 9 minutes left, yet there's only 8 ships. From what we had earlier with the difference in amount of ships on each team, that has significantly changed now. It is very even. The only thing being is instead of having 2 battleships, the friendly team has only got a single battleship and a single cruiser, but they've got 2 battleships, one of those being a 4 HP Minnesota. However, the Bismarck, yep, there you go, he's got just under 60k as well, which is not very good for this team because, yeah, Seattle's not going to be able to take out both of those, and I don't think a single Tirpitz is going to do the same, especially whilst they're this spread out. And at the same time, you can see the Friesland is now currently being spotted, I'm assuming by the Tirpitz as he's open water gunboating. At this point, no one's really able to shoot at Whisky, so he decides, okay, I might as well pop another smoke generator and start opening fire on the Friesland. Unfortunately, the Friesland was varying his speed there, so it's just taking Whisky a little bit longer to get his shells aimed up. I've just got an alert there from Outlook, sorry about that. But he has managed to, ooh, those were quite close there, does manage to get his shells aiming correctly, and that Friesland is now on a hell of a lot less HP than he started off with. And because he's not being spotted here, Whisky's not being spotted, there's nothing that Friesland can do, and he can't get any support from the Minnesota, allowing him to get his 4th kill, which is very, very nice. And the only thing that's left is the enemy carrier, which is the, yeah, I think it was the Shokaku, as well as the Minnesota and Bismarck, which is currently taking out the B-cap, which is very unfortunate. Yeah, here comes the Shokaku coming in to potentially spot Whisky, and yeah, there we go, he is spotted. However, it looks like he's already set his course onto the Seattle, thankfully, and the Implacable, very, very kind of him, and thankfully he seems to be a decent carrier player, manages to get there, drop some fighters in just to try and save the friendly Seattle. However, unfortunately, that rocket salvo does take him out, meaning now somehow Whisky and this carrier have got to take out 2 battleships and an aircraft carrier alone, which is a very hard feat. And obviously you can imagine, you know, the chances of that happening are going to be very, very slim unless he manages to pull off something unthinkable. But you can currently see with the amount of map control they've got and the amount of ships, it is going to be a very, very hard fight to win. But even so, this is where Whisky's like, well, hey, may as well try and do what I can here, and he's just mowing down the Minnesota, because the Minnesota, it is a slow ship, which it is pretty vulnerable to fire for the fact of its big superstructure's massive, it can't really avoid shots too much, meaning the sort of high DPM HE spam is going to be something that's really going to be one of the Minnesota's weaknesses. So Whisky's basically in his element here, and woo, unfortunately takes that torpedo and nearly gets torpedo beats. That's quite unfortunate. I mean, possibly the result of the battle could have possibly changed there, but I mean, with how fast they are acquiring points here, I don't think that's the case. Now, Minnesota is there. Okay, yep. Just narrowly misses that one. And now, because the Minnesota is currently spotted by the Implacable's high explosive bombs, well, bombers, not the bombs, I mean flying bombs, that would be interesting, means that Whisky can just continue to HE spam this guy and just really make a complete mess of his ship. As you can see, all of his superstructure is completely charred, and there we go, Whisky already has got the, yeah, he just got the Confederate award earlier, and now just got the high caliber award, which is incredibly good, as he's now sitting at 884,000 damage and counting. And the Bismarck decides he also wants to be part of the action, and yeah, unfortunately, the carrier is the thing that's really causing the issues. I think if there was not a carrier here, if there was not a carrier on the enemy team, I genuinely think Whisky could have won this. With the spotting of the friendly Implacable, or even just maybe spotting these ships in open water gunboating could have made this a possibility, or even just having another ship on his team to spot these ships. It really could have been a totally different result, because you can see at the moment with how fast Whisky is absolutely just chunking this guy's HP down. I mean, 11,000 HP, and he's also got fires that's currently being set. Yeah, there we go. He's just got another fire. So this guy's got a double fire, and yeah, he's been taken out. And the only thing would be a Bismarck. And unfortunately, I mean, Whisky himself said he didn't even realise until later that he got a smoke, which would have been quite useful, as he could have just gotten into that and possibly healed up in 30 seconds. But there we go. He has just been knocked out, leaving the Implacable to take the game. And obviously in chat, yeah, says damn. With 215,000 damage, an incredibly good game, and now it's just a fact of really watching it pan out, which won't take long, as every time the clock ticks over for every time the points generates, well, the caps generate points, obviously they're getting 4 for each one. They've got all 4 caps. It's going to be a loss very, very soon, meaning the Implacable has got to either detonate the Bismarck or the Shikaku, or it's a loss, and you can probably see where this is going. There's no real chance here. He's got a single bomber. That is going to be taken out. Yeah, there you go. That's just been completely knocked out. And just really watching it. But overall, that was an incredibly good feat. And very, very, very nice game from Whisky. Yeah, there you go. The Implacable is now getting... He's getting bombed by the Shikaku, and I'm assuming he's also getting shot by... Yeah, there you go. The Bismarck is also popping a few shots into him, knocking him out. Yeah, it's just quite sad, especially from such a good attempt. But that marks the end of the game. So yeah, it's about to tick over. And here we are on the end result screen here, and a very nice result indeed. So 505,000 credits, very good. 5,900 experience and 1,400 free XP. Overall, very nice results. If this was a tier lower, that would be an incredibly good amount to get just to be grinding for the next tier. Obviously, he got the Confederate Award for doing all of that damage. Cracking Unleashed for those 5 very nice kills, as well as High Caliber. And as you can see, 215,000 damage with 578 main battery target hits. So overall, an incredibly good game. Now, we'll just quickly look over onto the team score here, and obviously he's top of the team. I mean, if someone was above him, I'd be incredibly surprised. I don't know how they would, considering he's got such a good score there. I mean, he's 400 above the gear, and also if you look on the enemy team, he is above more than half of the enemy team on the winning side, and obviously when you win, you do get an increased amount of base XP. So brilliant, brilliant attempt there, and that was an amazing game to watch. And with that said, that brings us to the end of the video. So if you did enjoy watching that replay, I mean, obviously thank you very much to TheWhiskyPriest. That was a brilliant game to watch, so thank you for submitting that. But if you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and if you've got any thoughts on the replay, or just generally just want to say something about the video, then just drop those in the comments below. And that's it from me, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.